My name is David. I never imagined that a plan to visit an ordinary place would turn into the most terrifying experience of my life. Everything started with a very simple decision. My girlfriend and I had wanted for a long time to go somewhere away from the noise of the city. We wanted to escape phones, notifications, work, everything for a few days. A place surrounded only by nature, with fewer people, less noise, peace. While searching online, one place caught our eye, nestled between mountains and forests not very well known. The pictures were beautiful. There were very few reviews, but whatever there were, everyone described the place as strangely quiet. At the time, the phrase strangely quiet felt appealing. Now I realized that was the first warning. On the morning of our trip, we were very excited. We took a train to a small town, then a local bus. As the bus moved forward, the surroundings became emptier. Fewer shops, fewer people. At one point, the bus stopped. The driver said, "No buses go beyond this point." "You'll have to get down here," I asked. "How far is the resort from here?" He looked at me oddly, as if the question made him pause for a moment. Then he said, "Half an hour on foot." "The road is straight, you won't get lost." For some reason, he emphasized the words, "you won't get lost." After the bus left, the surroundings suddenly became unnaturally silent. No sound of vehicles, no human voices, only the rustling of leaves in the wind. We started walking. The road really was straight, but dense forest lay on both sides. Sunlight couldn't properly reach through the trees. Even though it was daytime, everything felt a bit dark. My girlfriend whispered, "The place is beautiful, but doesn't it feel strange?" I laughed and said, "You watch too many horror videos." But honestly, even I was feeling an unknown uneasiness. Not exactly fear, but a heavy feeling in my chest. As we walked, I noticed wooden poles placed along the roadside from time to time, old, decayed, with some symbols carved into them. I couldn't tell what they meant. I was about to stop and take a closer look when suddenly the wind began to blow harder. The trees made sounds as if someone was whispering. We quickened our pace. After a while, an old-style building appeared in the distance. That was our place to stay. A large open area around it, but no other houses nearby. The moment I saw the building, my chest tightened slightly. It wasn't very big, but unnaturally isolated. The windows were dark, moss covered the walls. As if no one had properly come here in a long time. As soon as we stepped inside, a cold breeze brushed against us. There was no air conditioning, yet the air felt cold. A man at the counter handed us the key. He spoke very little, no smile, no normal sense of hospitality. While taking the key, I asked, "Does anyone else live around here?" He stayed silent for a few seconds. Then he said, "Don't go outside at night." I thought it might just be some general rule. But the way he said it was very serious. We entered the room and closed the door. The room was clean, but there was an old smell lingering in the air. Outside the window, there was nothing but forest, so dense that nothing inside it could be seen. My girlfriend stood by the window and said, "Can you imagine how this forest will feel at night?" I was still trying to make light of it. "Don't be afraid, I'm here." But as I said it, for some reason my own voice didn't sound normal. Afternoon slowly turned into evening. Strangely enough, there were no birds. The usual evening sounds you'd expect were completely absent, total silence. Suddenly, it felt like someone was walking outside. I looked toward the door, footsteps, very slow but heavy. My girlfriend grabbed my hand. "Do you hear that?" I nodded. Then the footsteps stopped right in front of the door. We both held our breath. A few seconds passed, then the footsteps started again. But this time they weren't moving away, they were circling around. I looked through the gap under the door. There was no shadow. Just then, a very faint whisper came from outside. The sound wasn't clear, but it felt like someone was trying to call my name without actually saying any name. Just, "Hey." My body went cold. This was only the beginning. "Hey," the sound came again. This time a little clearer. Still, it was impossible to tell who was speaking or from where. There was no anger in the voice, no threat. Instead, there was a pull, as if someone familiar was calling. I didn't move toward the door. I asked from inside, "Who is it?" No answer. A few seconds later, the footsteps began again. But this time, they weren't moving away. They were slowly moving along the walls, as if someone was circling the room. My girlfriend said in a very low voice, "Don't open the door." I nodded. After a while, all the sounds stopped. Such a deep silence fell that I could hear my own breathing, outside the forest. Inside, just the two of us, between us a thin door, I slowly walked toward the window. There was nothing outside, no light, no movement, only dense darkness. Suddenly it felt like the forest had moved closer. The feeling was strange, impossible to explain logically. But it was like the sensation you get when someone silently comes and stands very close to you. I stepped away from the window. We decided we wouldn't go outside tonight. We turned on the light, but the light felt strangely weak, as if it couldn't properly cut through the darkness. We ate dinner in silence. While eating, I noticed my girlfriend kept looking at me. I asked, "What is it?" She paused, then said, "Under your eyes, they've turned dark." I laughed and said, "Travel fatigue." But when I looked in the mirror, a chill ran through me. There really were shadows under my eyes, not the kind that comes from ordinary tiredness. The night grew deeper. I checked the time, 10 p.m., but it felt much later. The darkness outside the window was unnaturally thick. We tried to sleep, but sleep wouldn't come. Just then, a new sound appeared inside the room, from one corner. It felt like someone was breathing very slowly. I held my breath. The sound wasn't ours. It was very clear there was another presence. I whispered, "Do you hear that?" She nodded. Her eyes were wide. The breathing sound grew louder slowly, but there was no shadow, no shape. Suddenly, the light flickered once, and at that exact moment the breathing stopped, but it was replaced by something else. A very faint laugh, not a happy laugh, but one of satisfaction. Something twisted inside my chest. I stood up and went to the light switch. The switch was fine. The power wasn't out. Yet the light kept trembling. Suddenly my girlfriend whispered, "Don't look behind you." The moment I heard that, my body froze. I could feel it. There was something behind me, very close. So close that a faint, cold air brushed against my neck. I slowly asked, "What do you see?" She didn't answer. Just by looking at her eyes, I could tell she was too terrified to speak. I gathered my courage and slowly turned around. There was nothing, an empty room. But at that exact moment, a knocking sound came from the door. This time not from outside, from inside the door. As if someone was knocking from within the wood itself. Neither of us screamed. We couldn't. The sound came again. Knock, knock, knock. Then from very close to the door, that whispering voice. "I knew you would come." My head began to feel light. This place was not meant for us. We weren't just visitors here. We were invited, but why? After hearing that whisper from inside the door, I couldn't move. "I knew you would come." The words didn't enter my ears. They went straight into my head. There was no emotion in the voice. No anger, no joy, just absolute certainty. I stared at the door. The wooden door was completely still, not moving at all. Yet the sound was clear. It was coming from inside, as if something was trapped within the wood of the door itself. My girlfriend slowly took hold of my hand. Her hand was ice cold. She whispered, "Are we really alone here?" I couldn't answer. Just then the sound at the door stopped. Suddenly, as if it had been cut off, that unnatural silence returned to the room. I looked at my watch, 11:11. Suddenly it felt like time wasn't moving properly in this place, as if clocks existed but time itself did not. I slightly pulled aside the window curtain. The moment I looked outside, something slammed into my chest. The forest was no longer the same. The trees were very close, so close it felt like they were pressed against the window glass. But when we arrived in the afternoon, there had been distance, and then there was something even more terrifying. Between the trees, inside the darkness, something was moving, not like humans. Not like animals either. Shadows, many shadows, but they weren't walking. They were swaying, as if hanging in the air. From behind me, my girlfriend asked, "What do you see?" I pulled the curtain shut. "Nothing, it's just dark outside." I lied because I didn't want her to see. We both sat on the bed. We didn't have the courage to lie down. Suddenly, the temperature inside the room dropped even further. Not like winter cold, but a kind of cold that seeps inside the body. A faint mist began to come out with my breath. Just then, my eyes went to the mirror. In the mirror, the two of us were sitting there normal, but behind us, another figure. I closed my eyes and looked again. The figure was gone. My girlfriend said very softly, "In the mirror, did you see something?" I shook my head. No, but my voice was trembling. Suddenly, a very strange sound began inside the room, as if many people were whispering together somewhere far away. But the sound wasn't coming from far, it was coming from all around. From the walls, the ceiling, the floor, everywhere, but no words were clear. Only one feeling: something was being discussed about us. Just then the light went out completely. Darkness. Total darkness. I took out my phone. When I tried to turn on the screen, I saw battery 0%, even though it had charged just a while ago. My girlfriend said mine too. In the darkness, suddenly a sound came from very close, a long breath between us. I could feel it, something was standing between us, invisible but present. Then very slowly a voice said, "You can't see us, but we are here." There was no doubt now, this place is not empty, this room is not empty, and we are not guests here. We are here because someone wanted us to come. Suddenly the door handle moved on its own, but not as if trying to open the door, as if someone inside was trying to go out. And at that moment an image flashed inside my head. We have been in this room before, not once, many times, each time we forgot, and this time the time for forgetting is over. The image that appeared in my mind was not a dream, I am certain, because it came with a feeling familiarity. This room is familiar to me. This darkness is familiar. This fear is familiar. I whispered, "We have been here before." My girlfriend slowly looked at me. "What are you saying?" I stayed silent for a moment. It was hard to organize the words in my head. As if someone had deliberately scrambled my memories, I said, "I feel like this isn't our first time." The moment I said that, the air in the room changed. The cold grew deeper, as if the place itself was responding to our words. Suddenly I looked at the wall. There were faint marks on it. If you look closely, it becomes clear. These are not ordinary marks. Many lines, one over another, as if someone was counting. I stepped closer and started counting. 1, 2, 3, my voice caught in my throat. The same set of numbers carved again and again in the same place, which meant someone had stood here multiple times doing the exact same thing. My girlfriend asked, "What are those?" I didn't answer, because I understood they were marks of time, our time. Just then, another voice came from very close, not a whisper like before, this time many voices together. "Do you remember now?" The question didn't reach my ears, it went straight inside. My head began to ache, my vision blurred. Suddenly, scene after scene flashed. We arrive here, we enter this room. Night falls, we feel afraid, then darkness, then morning again. We're smiling, thinking everything is fine. I started gasping for breath. This place isn't trapping us, it's bringing us back. My girlfriend said in a trembling voice, "If we've been here before, then we couldn't get out." I knew the answer to that question, but I didn't have the courage to say it. Suddenly the door handle moved again. This time slowly the door opened, outside the corridor, but it wasn't the same as before, long, unnaturally long, no light, no end in sight. From inside the corridor the voices spoke together. "You can leave if you remember." I understood. The way out isn't through the body, it's through memory. But there's one problem: the more I remember, the more my head hurts, as if this place doesn't want us to remember everything. My girlfriend held my hand. "We'll stay together, no matter what." The moment she said that, a faint light turned on along the corridor walls. Pictures of us, but in each one were slightly different. Sometimes exhausted, sometimes terrified, sometimes unable to recognize each other. I realized each picture is an attempt, a failure. At the end of the corridor, a door appeared. There was no lock on it, no guard, but standing in front of it, my chest began to tremble. Because written on the door were the words, "Last time." I don't know why, but it felt like if we open this door, maybe we'll leave or stay forever. I placed my hand on the door handle. And just then, from behind, those many whispering voices, "Don't make a mistake this time." My hand froze on the handle. To open it or not to open it, this hesitation itself felt like the true test of this place. The words "last time" on the door weren't still. As the light shifted, it felt like the letters were moving. As if the door were alive, I looked back. The corridor had grown even longer. The pictures on the walls were blurred, but their eyes, every single pair of eyes, were staring straight at us. My girlfriend said very softly, "If this is the last, then what were all the others?" I replied, "Practice." Even I didn't consciously understand why I said that. The words seemed to rise from somewhere else. At that exact moment, the corridor lights went out, complete darkness. Yet even within the darkness, I could feel it. We were not alone. Something was standing all around us, very close, so close that their presence could be felt. No one touched us. No one made a sound. Still, it felt like we were being watched. Then those many voices spoke together. "You think this is a place?" They paused. "No, this is a memory." Images flooded my mind again. We didn't come here the first time to enjoy ourselves. We came to forget something, not the noise of the city, not work, but to run away from ourselves. This place understood that it doesn't hold people captive, it empties them. Until they leave everything of themselves behind. Suddenly, my girlfriend said, "I'm starting to remember something." I looked at her. There was no fear in her eyes, only a strange calm. She said, "Every time we tried to leave, one of us was left behind." My chest tightened. "What do you mean?" She looked at me and smiled faintly. "This place doesn't let two people leave together." As soon as she said that, the words on the door changed. From last time to 4-1, I understood. This place is not a monster. It's not a spirit, it's a choice. One will go, one will stay to call the next one. All the previous loops crashed into my mind at once. Every time I tried to leave, every time someone let me go. "And I forgot," I said slowly. "If you go, will I stay?" She didn't answer. She only looked at the door. From the other side of the door, a soft light was coming. Warm, alive, real. And behind us, the cold breath of this place. The many voices spoke together. "You made the decision yourselves." I understood. This place doesn't force anyone to stay. It only reminds you of the decision you don't want to make. I closed my eyes. If I open the door, I will leave, but what stays behind will haunt me forever. I opened my eyes. This time the door handle was truly moving. Time was up. The door handle was no longer still. Very slowly, but with certainty, it was turning. As if someone on the other side wasn't waiting, but knew for sure that I would open it. I looked at my girlfriend. For the first time, fear returned to her eyes. She said very softly, "I feel like this exact moment has come before." I didn't say anything, because I remembered it too. Every time standing in front of this door, we made the same mistake. We thought one person would sacrifice themselves and the other would survive, but that's not the truth. This place doesn't keep anyone by force, and it doesn't let anyone go easily either. It only watches who chooses whom. Suddenly, the corridor walls began to shake. The pictures started falling one by one. In every picture, the same scene, me standing in front of the door. And someone standing behind me, sometimes her, sometimes me. My girlfriend said, "What if no one goes?" The question seemed to hang in the air of the corridor. The many voices didn't laugh. Instead, very calmly, they said, "Then the loop will continue." I understood. This place can wait, not days, not years, as many times as necessary. A thought suddenly became clear in my mind. We think the door is freedom, but maybe the door is facing the wrong direction. I let go of the door handle. At that exact moment, all sounds stopped. The corridor, the voices, the cold air, everything. My girlfriend said in surprise, "What did you do?" I said, "It's playing with us because we want to leave." I turned around. Toward the darkness behind us, where there is no door, no light, but there is a presence, silent, vast. I said very slowly, "What if we want to stay?" For a moment there was no response. Then for the first time the voices were not together, a single voice, very deep, very old. "If you stay, you will change." I asked, "How?" The answer came, "You will become the memory of this place." As soon as I heard that, everything became clear. This place doesn't consume people. This place is built from people. All the whispers, all the shadows, all the presences, each one was once someone else's self. I took my girlfriend's hand. "What if we stay together?" The darkness seemed to shift slightly. The voice said, "No one has wanted that before." New marks appeared on the surrounding walls. Beside the old counting lines, 2 marks together. I understood. The way to break this loop is not sacrifice. The way to break this loop is staying together. But it means only one thing: we will no longer be human in the way we were before. Somewhere far away, a faint light appeared, but it wasn't beyond the door, it was inside us. I looked at the door one last time. It was no longer calling, almost as if disappointed. I took one step into the darkness, and at that moment I realized this place is not holding us today. We chose this place. When I stepped into the darkness, there was no sound. Not of a door closing, not of wind, not of any voice, as if the place had accepted our decision. The darkness around us no longer felt frightening. It felt heavy, deep, like descending into the ocean pressure, but no panic. My girlfriend did not let go of my hand. Suddenly it felt like my hand had changed, not cold, not warm, something in between, impossible to describe. I looked at her. Her face was the same as before, but her eyes had no reflection. As if she no longer reflected light, she held it. I whispered, "Are you okay?" She nodded. "I feel lighter." There was no happiness in her voice, no sadness either, only acceptance. Suddenly the image of the forest appeared around us. No walls, no corridor. We were standing back in that room again, but the room had changed. It was no longer old, no longer broken. It was waiting outside the window. The dark forest stood, but now I understood those weren't trees. They were memories. Everyone who came here, everyone who felt fear. Everyone who wanted to return, all of them are standing there unmoving. Suddenly footsteps came from outside, startled, but this time I wasn't afraid because the sound was familiar. Someone was standing outside the door, exactly the way we had stood there on the first night. From the other side of the door, a voice came, new, fresh, unfamiliar. Is anyone here? My girlfriend and I looked at each other. For the first time I understood this place doesn't call anyone. People come here on their own. My girlfriend whispered softly, "Are we now?" I finished the sentence, the whispers. Just then, a light knock fell on the door. Knock, knock, exactly like the first night. I walked toward the door, but I didn't open it. I just said calmly, "Don't go outside at night." The moment I said it, the breathing on the other side stopped. My girlfriend looked at me and smiled faintly. This smile was no longer human. But it wasn't cruel either, it was compassionate. I understood. We are not guards, we are not prey. We are simply the memory of this place, so that no one forgets. Not every door leads to freedom. Some doors exist only to be seen. Outside, footsteps started again, slowly moving away. The forest shifted, and for the first time I exhaled, not out of fear, out of acceptance. There were no more sounds from the other side of the door. Even the footsteps faded away, just like they always did. I looked toward the window. The forest was now clearly visible. It no longer felt dark like before, because now I understood it isn't darkness, it's depth. Every shadow is a waiting, every movement is a decision. My girlfriend came and stood beside me. We both know we are no longer people on a trip. We are a question. This place doesn't kill anyone. It doesn't force anyone to stay either. It simply places people in a moment where their true desire comes out. The desire to return, or the inability to let someone go. Suddenly, the very first day's scene became clear in my mind. The bus stopping, the driver's words, "Don't get lost." I didn't understand then, now I do. Getting lost here doesn't mean losing the road. Getting lost here means forgetting your own decision. Somewhere in the distance, a new light appeared, not beyond the door, inside the forest. I know it's a new person, a new me. Someone is coming to find peace. Someone is coming to forget. Someone is coming to save love. We won't call anyone. We won't stop anyone either. We will simply remain. The way memories remain, without sound, without pressure, but with weight. My girlfriend said very softly, "Will we ever forget?" I shook my head. No. Forgetting was the loop. From far away, another voice drifted in, very clear, very human. "Is anyone here?" I looked at the door. For a moment, I felt like opening it, telling everything. Warning them, but I know the truth doesn't break the loop when it's told. It breaks only when it's understood, so I just said, "Come inside." The forest stirred, the light slowly settled. And at that moment I realized this story doesn't end here. It ends every time when someone thinks, what harm could a small trip do? I don't know how you're reading these words, as a video, as a story, or just as content, but if you ever go somewhere and feel the place is strangely quiet, remember, not every quiet place is meant for rest. Some places exist only to remind. And if one day from the other side of a door someone says, "I knew you would come," then understand this: you are not alone. You never were.